Alright, hello. Welcome to another update. This update is going to be a little bit later than usual, or this is going to be uploaded a little bit later than usual because I was spending my time tracking down this bug that is still yet to be resolved. So some of the stuff in game might be broken right now because I'm still in the progress of fixing it after tracking it down. I'll explain more later exactly what that bug is because I think it's pretty interesting. But it's definitely still a work in progress. So let's go to things that other things that I worked on today. First is that now there's a timeout win. So I've set the timer to 10 seconds right now. I actually shortened the timer from like 5 characters long to just having to the double digit. So now you just saw right there, there's a tie animation when one player wins. Now if one person has more health than the other person, let's see if I can get this working. Right, so there's now a new win animation, lose animation, and then when the timer runs out, if you have more health, right, win in that case. Let's see. It's kind of fascinating how the FPS drops when I start playing the game. Anyways, so yeah, so that's one change today. There's now win, loss, and tie animations. And then I spent the rest of my time tracking down this bug here. So it's probably best shown by both players attacking at once. What was happening before was that because each player, let me actually change the time back to 99 seconds. Because each player was attacking, so when each player was attacking at the same time, instead of both players hitting each other, one person would win over the other no matter what. So if, for example, if I press both heavy attack on the same, actually let's both press light attack, medium attack because heavy is gonna be bugged. All right, so we both press medium attack on the same frame. Let's see if I can skip frames. Is it not skipping frames? Skipping frames. Right, so you can see them change animation on the same frame. That means they're attacking on the same frame. You can see here now I've changed it so that they've both hit each other. Before they weren't doing that. That was because I drew this whole graph out. Basically, when somebody spawns a hitbox, it would instantly trigger the damage system on the character. And then when the person is hit, they can't hit back, obviously. So you change the state to hit, and the hitbox for their attack disappears, right? So one person attacks, right? Basically, this means that one person's attack always going to be hitting first, and then the other person's attack doesn't get to come out, even though it's the same frame. And I really don't want that to happen, because, right, if you both attack on like the same frame close enough, right, both in 1/60th of a second, then you should both hit each other, which is not really possible before. Now I've changed it so that I was trying a bunch of different things that didn't work, but I think I figured it out where what you have to do is set the tick, is it called tick group? I think it's called the tick group. Let me see if I can find it. It's somewhere here, right? So you have to set the tick group, set it to post update, because what I want to happen is that I want the attack, so want all the attacks to occur first, and then update the actor, update the BP dudes. And then what I do here is that I actually cache all the damage. So the damage system now doesn't go directly to the damage. So there's this new event called damage system cache, which the hitbox is called to, and it adds it to an array of damage of attacks that you want to hit on the next resolution of the actor. What this means is that I can precisely control exactly when the damage goes off. This means that when the hitbox spawns on the character, right? So for example, right, so when the hitbox spawns, it doesn't deal damage to the other character right away. It actually caches it to the other character's memory, and then it resolves it basically on the same frame. Because the physics is gonna check the collisions first. This means that all the damage is gonna go through, and the second player, right, is also going to be able to spawn their hitboxes because right? Even though they need to, the event ticks are ordered somehow, right? The physics collision always occur where the collisions and the overlapping checking should occur in the physics section of the update. So um, those two changes I think fixes the damage being able to hit each other on the same frame. Um, but then I was tracking down. So the reason why I was taking so long today was that I was tracking down this bug where I would sometimes have extra frames when I'm attacking somebody and they're attacking. So because I was testing this counter hit thing. Let's see, right. So because I was testing a counter hit, I realized that sometimes when I hit them, I do actually need to figure out. There's definitely memory leaks happening right now if it's running so much slower. Anyways, because I was testing counter hit, the other person would sometimes get an extra frame of advantage or disadvantage based on what they whether they were attacking or not, which is very weird. You can see it here. I basically tracked it down to so there used to be a retriggerable delay here, just like the hit freeze over here. If you go into delay frames, there's this retriggerable delay, which was causing me the problems where if the other person was attacking, was basically in a counter hit state, they would get an extra frame of hit stun. And that still occurred even though I can force counter hits. So if I go back to the damage system, here I was setting the force counter hits before, and it was still giving me that behavior, which is very weird. Honestly, I don't know why that happens, but it seems like that the delay trigger is not exactly very reliable. And that's the retriggable delay, and the delay is something that I've been using throughout my code. But this took me quite a long time to exactly pinpoint because it surfaced as one extra frame of hit stun. That extra frame of hit stun can come from the attacking player recovering earlier, or this player recovering later, and you gotta trace it down exactly to where they were getting the extra frame. So I was going frame by frame when they were attacking, so I was basically just doing this. Let's see if I can find it. So the reason why this is why this attack is so weird is that because I wanted to test exactly so I can both attack at once and then trace exactly when the other person recovers. And so the debug message on the top left over here shows me exactly when the timer gets set for the hit stun, and I found out that the timer for the hit stun gets set one frame later if the person was attacking beforehand, for even though the code execution path is exactly the same. So I'm not sure why. I think it's just because delay nodes are very weird. I don't know exactly how they work. I was reading a forum post online saying that if you set the delay to 0, and that's personal experience too, if you set a delay to 0, you would still delay by at least one frame, which is really not what I want. So I'm in the process of refactoring a lot of my code to use these set timer by event, which I found to be a lot more reliable. This can be due to because they don't block execution, which is definitely better in terms of the amount of threads I'm using and the amount of threads I'm using and the amount of processor, just the amount of threads I'm using basically. And then it should really increase performance too, because I'm not blocking so many frames, and not all these threads are trying to count down for the delay. So I found out a similar problem. So the thing is that I've been actually struggling with this a little bit because my frame data wasn't exactly lining up either. So I would set up an attack to give me. So I set up an attack here to basically give me exactly 0 frame advantage. So you see here it's 9 frames. The attack hitbox comes out on frame 9, and there's with 1 active frame basically. So before with this attack state and set freeze, you can see here. See if I can get this done. Right, so if I do this, right, you get -1 frame of advantage, which was balanced out actually, I think, by some other delays. But if I set this here now, right, so that's incorrect, right? That should be zero. There should be 0 frame advantage because they're recovering with exactly 1 frame of getting hit, which is the same frame of, right? They get hit and they should recover to the next frame. That's what 1 hit, right? One frame of hit stun means. And then this here, perfect. It's exactly 0. So that's exactly what I want. But this also means that I need a lot of work in terms of setting this timer here. I think I have to refactor a lot of my code in terms of just the whole set state, attack, and freeze. So where you set your state and then you freeze the character for a certain second and then unfreeze them. So yeah, it shouldn't be as bad as I'm making it sound to be. It's just a lot of refactoring. I don't know how that's gonna go, but this should really speed up my code. I really need to figure out exactly why my game is slowing down so much after running it for a while. I think there's definitely problems with memory, because I think if I take a look right now, processes, right, it's using 59% memory. I'm not exactly sure, so I'll take a look at it to make sure I'm not storing too much information or not freeing anything that's come up that I would be worried about. I don't know actually. I just have to go through and check, making sure that the arrays basically I think it's gonna be mostly the arrays that I'm populating. That's gonna be the main concern. So yeah, that's my update today. Hopefully you found this to be interesting. It really took me a long time to exactly drill down to where this bug was, because I mean, this is kind of the fun part of game programming, where you have to get right. Everything's happening because so precisely by these frames, and you really have to understand exactly when certain processes are happening and where are they running, so where each tick is happening. Otherwise you get like these weird bugs where right, like when they both attack each other, right, only one of them hits, or even though I want these to happen in the same frame. So right, the whole core of the problem is that the engine is running in real time, but my game is want to be run precisely by frames, and that's just something I have to deal with. And hopefully I can have the infrastructure for that to happen. But I guess this is just me realizing through these bugs that the current use of delays and retriggerable delays isn't good enough to get that precision. But that precision also means that I only need to do these kind of things for things that really matter. Right. So like frame data that needs to be precise. For other things, I should be okay. Right, I don't care if my like end screen comes up 1 frame later, right? But I do care when my character recovers, when my character attack recovers, and other things like that. So yeah, a lot of work to do. Exciting to be, right? Yeah, exciting problems to be having. So yeah, that's that. All right. I think I probably ran over time, but hope you enjoyed, and see you guys tomorrow.